Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. So I want to apologize if I'm reading a little bit slowly. Tonight's surah is a little difficult, so I got to read a little bit slower to understand where I'm at. So please forgive me if I read a little bit slower than usual. And another important thing, we want to make dua for Imam Ahmed. He wasn't able to come tonight and he's not feeling very good, so we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give him a speedy recovery. Ameen. So the leader that I wanted to talk about tonight is a Sahabi, radiallahu anhu. And he is one of the cousins of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And I have given a khutbah on him before. And usually when I talk about this person or the Sahabi, I usually discuss three of his main qualities. However, for tonight, I think I'll just focus on just one of his qualities. And the Sahabi, or the leader that we will be talking about tonight, is Ja'far bin Abi Talib radiallahu anhu. Ja'far bin Abi Talib radiallahu anhu, he was the cousin of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And he was considered one of the youth of Islam. He was relatively young. And he was very feared on the battlefield. But tonight, I want to talk about his generosity. Because, at that time, in the Prophet ﷺ's time, people had very long names. It was Muhammad, son of so-and-so, son of so-and-so, son of so-and-so, son of so-and-so. And so, you could never really address someone by their full name. And so, the Sahaba, they would give each other nicknames based on their qualities. And so one of the most famous nicknames that we know is Abu Huraira, radiallahu anhu. That wasn't his name, that was his nickname. And Abu Huraira means the father of the small cat. Because he would show so much affection to cats, he got the nickname, the father of the small cat. And so likewise, Ja'far, radiallahu anhu, who we're talking about tonight, he also was given a nickname based on one of his qualities. His nickname was a very beautiful nickname. They called him Abu Masakin, or the father of the poor, the father of the needy. And just from that nickname, it tells you what kind of person he was. And so I'll tell you a short story that illustrates his generosity. One day, a group of Sahaba, they were so hungry, nothing to eat. And so what did they do? They started walking on the streets of the city, hoping that someone would invite them inside to their home for food. You guys following so far? A group of hungry Sahaba are walking on the streets, and they're so hungry that they're hoping someone invites them in for a meal. And so Ja'far radiallahu anhu, he sees this group and he calls them into his home to invite them for food. And so, being a host, he sits them down, he entertains them. And now it's time to eat. But it turns out Ja'far radiallahu anhu is also hungry. And likewise, he has no food in his house. So what do you think he gave his guest? He's not going to leave his guest to go hungry. And so Ja'far radiallahu anhu, it shows how poor they were really. Wallahi, they were the most wealthy people in their hearts, but they were the most poor in possession. Ja'far radiallahu anhu, he takes a tray of not butter, tray of leftover butter. So you know how when we buy butter from the store and we finish with the butter, there's some residue left over, right? It's not all finished. And so that's what he had left in his house. Leftover butter. And so he gives it to his guest. And his guest, he takes a lick and he passes it on to the next person. And that was their meal. And it goes to show you that generosity, it doesn't come with wealth. You would think that a person who has wealth is more generous, but that's not the case. These people had nothing, yet they were the most generous people that you could find on the face of the earth. Now look at us. We are perhaps one of the wealthiest people in all of civilization. From the beginning of time until now, we have never been wealthier. Yet when we give, there's something eating at us that we don't want to give. Especially in this month of Ramadan when we should be giving more. And this is the time that a lot of people are giving their zakat. And unfortunately, many Muslims, many Muslims, they do not consider the zakat something important. They don't even consider it. And it comes to the point that Muslims in America, they are more fearful of paying their taxes to the IRS than they are to paying their zakat to Allah. You think this is right or no? People are more scared of the IRS than they are of Allah, subhanAllah. And so, you ask people, did you pay your zakat this year? Oh yeah, I sent something back home, as I usually do. But that's not how zakat is supposed to be treated. Zakat is a communal obligation. It is the way we take care of each other. And so, I encourage every single one of you, just because you gave maybe $1,000 last month, that does not exempt you from zakat. Zakat is the mandatory part. Everything else that you give is optional. And so, zakat is such an important aspect of our Islam. It's one of the pillars of Islam. Yet people don't take it so seriously. In fact, I would say that out of the 5 pillars of Islam, zakat is the one that is taken the least seriously. And because a lot of people, what they do is they play with their money. They will allocate all of their funds to their son's account. That way, they consider themselves ineligible for zakat. How can you play games with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala like that? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed you with your money. Use your money, purify that money so that it can help others. Zakat is how we take care of each other. Our brothers and sisters should not have to rely on welfare from the American government. They should be able to rely on their brothers and sisters in the community to donate and help them out. And so, this year, consider giving your zakat in this area, your locality. Yes, you can give back home. No one is stopping you from giving as much as you want back home. But for zakat, the obligation of this year, I want you to think about giving it to someone in this community or in the United States. There are multiple organizations that will take your zakat on your behalf and they will distribute it to someone in this country. And so we have to take care of the people that